Welcome to America Reads Fun Learning Activities. We are college students who create learning activities for kids. Our fun activities are focused on different topics such as health, science, history, and even the arts. Today we have our activity coordinators, Evan, Laura, and myself, Luisa, to help us today. In today's activity, we will learn about the most popular event that occurs in Spain. But first, let's learn about today's vocabulary with Laura.
For today's vocabulary, we are going to learn a few vocab words that's related to today's activity. So, starting off, we will learn about culture, and culture means people's way of life. It's a way of life that celebrates different types of culture, a way a group of people do things. It then gets passed on from generation of people onto the next generation. For festival means a day or time of celebration. And then tradition. Tradition is basically an event that is repeated every year and is celebrated by a group of people/communities. So, these three new vocab words, culture, festival, tradition, are all related to today's activity, which will be explained further in the next coming slides.
Hey you guys! So, for today's culture event, we are going to be learning about a specific and very popular event that occurs in Spain called La Tomatina. And it's a very popular event that occurs in Spain, specifically Buñol, Valencia, España. But before we begin the activity, let's learn a little bit more about Spain, since it's such a different culture compared to the United States. For example, in Spain, there are over 48 million people living there currently today, which is a lot of people, I know, right? And also Spain is located in an offsite of Europe, so it's still a part of Europe, but it's just kind of a separate country off the coast from there. And for their main capital, for example, in the United States, our main capital is called Washington, D.C. For Spain, it's actually Madrid. In Madrid, it's one of the biggest cities in Spain right now because there are over 3.3 million people living there right now, which is a lot of people for just one city. And one of their main languages is called Castilian Spanish, which is a different kind of Spanish you might have heard of. Over 74% of people speak that language, and then only 17% of people speak a different language called Catalan, which is very different compared to the normal Spanish you've heard of. In the United States, we speak English. That is our main language. But for other countries and cultures, it's very different. And then for football, in Spain, football is super popular over there in Spain. That's one of the most exciting sports just to play out there. Okay, so now that we got to learn a little bit about the history of Spain, let's actually dive deeper and learn more about the culture and customs of the people of Spain. So, for example, one of the biggest influential things that people in Spain do is something called La Siesta. And La Siesta is very important for the people in Spain. It still occurs today in small cities and countries, such as workers and students often go home and around lunchtime to spend a few hours resting or socializing before returning to their work or studies. So it originally started off as a means of avoiding the midday heat. And it's remained a very popular tradition in Spain today. So if you lived in Arizona, you know when I talk about the heat, it's very hot. It can be very hot sometimes, right? So it's the same thing in Spain. For them, it usually starts around lunchtime. So for a way for them to avoid that heat, they created this thing called La Siesta. And it's very important for them because they'll take that time away from the heat to relax, to go out to eat, spend time with their families, even take a nap. And after they're done with that midday heat, they'll just go back to work or return to their studies or friends and family. So, talking about clothing specifically, people over there like to dress very business-like. Business dress is very stylish for them, but they also like to be a little bit conservative, such as maybe kind of wearing some very nice pants that are very business-like, or maybe like a button-up shirt, for example. Also, at the same time, wearing elegant accessories such as bracelets, necklaces, earrings. They love to kind of put accessories on their clothing to make them look more outstanding. So for etiquette, etiquette is kind of sometimes considered a habit or like a cultural ritual. For example, like if you have a etiquette in your family where you must all eat together in one dining table for dinner, that can be considered an etiquette because it's respectful to eat all together with your family. So that's an example right there. For Spain, people in Spain for lunch, they would normally not eat before 1:30 p.m. It's more likely to be after 2 p.m. and they will usually not start the evening meal until around 9 p.m. So they kind of eat dinner a little bit later. So they'll eat dinner like after 9 p.m. or they'll eat lunch like never before 1:30. Something important to take note is that most shops outside of the major cities will close between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. in line with the traditional siesta. So remember when we mentioned that earlier? So it's very important for them to take la siesta a part of their day. So they want to take that break. So that's why people tend to usually eat dinner later or earlier, just because they want to take that siesta time to relax and spend time with their families. So the last culture and custom we will talk about is language. Language is very important within the Spanish culture. Over 329 million native speakers, and it ranks as the world's number 2 in terms of how many people speak it as their first language. So here's my question of the day for you. How many people do you know, friends or family included, that speak Spanish as their first language? And then how many people do you know that speak Spanish as their second language?
Hello, Evan here, and I'm here to go over the humble beginnings of La Tomatina. So first off, we got to start off with, in 1945, some young boys decided to get a place among the retinue of a parade during the town festivities. And in the energy of these teens, they made one participant fall down, and the participant got mad, started hitting everything in his way, someone mad would do. And then casually nearby, there were actually a vegetable stall, and this vegetable stall fell victim to the furious crowd, and this led to people starting to pelt each other with tomatoes, which then laid the groundwork for La Tomatina. La Tomatina.
So when does this happen? La Tomatina Festival happens every year during the last Wednesday of August. It takes place in Buñol, which is a little village in Valencia, Spain. And the population of that city or the village is around 10,000 people, and it is located 40 kilometers from Valencia by bus, train, or by car. And locals and people from all over the world come here to celebrate this event. And the maximum amount of people allowed into this event is 22,000 people, and it's only for adults 18 plus and older. How does La Tomatina Festival happen? So the festival begins with a 12 a.m. bang. Trucks loaded of tomatoes drive through the fight area, while some locals in the back of the trucks are throwing tomatoes at all of the festival goers. As soon as the truck passes, everyone dives onto the ground to try to scoop tomatoes to get themselves armed for the battle. That's when the fun begins. The following hour will be one of the most hilarious experiences of your life.
La Tomatina? Hello guys, Evan back again to go over La Tomatina Influence. First up, we have in Costa Rica, the town of San Jose de Trojas in Saraje Canton. They celebrate a tomatina during their local tomato fair. Next up, we have, since 1982, a town of Twin Lakes in Lake County, Colorado has held a tomato fight called the Colorado-Texas Tomato War. in which Texans and Coloradans square off, and then the Coloradans also attempt to overtake the Texan straw Alamo effigy, generally succeeding, which is a little bit more history for you guys. And finally, next up, we have in the city of Reno, Nevada, in the United States, they also have an annual hour-long tomato fight that started in 2009. The event seems to take place on the last Sunday of August and is organized by the American Cancer Society. Organizers name the festival La Tomatina and Tomatina's Influence, and they give full credit to the idea to Spain. Alright, let's look back on what we learned today. We learned about La Tomatina, a festival in Spain that is celebrated yearly, and it gathers around over 20,000 people yearly. Not only that, but hopefully you also learned a little bit about the history of the event, history of Spain, and then all the other events that are inspired globally due to La Tomatina. I hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Thank you guys for learning with us today. We hope you come back and learn some more with America Reads. Comment below if you have any questions, like and subscribe to our channel, and we will be back with more video for you guys. Bye!